All right, so it's a beautiful day here in San Francisco. I'm here with Tim. We are at Aquatic Park and thinking of making something of the scene behind me. All right, so I'll be including the boathouse in the foreground. That's Alcatraz in the distance. I'll probably accentuate Alcatraz, kind of blow it up in size. I'm gonna eliminate that distant pier that's sort of blocking Alcatraz. I'm gonna move the boats around. I'm actually gonna be doing quite a bit of altering to the scene, but this is the scene I'm starting with. Tim's all set up. I saw you doing a sketch too, huh? Like a preliminary sketch?
I did. My confidence level was so low. I thought, well, maybe if I do a pencil sketch and it's good, that'll boost my confidence, and it actually did. I've shortened the building a little bit, and I'm eliminating that pier in the distance. And
I see you added a window. I'm going to do that.
I did. Yep, that was your idea. I stole.
That good.
And I'm hoping to bring over one of those boats.
9x12, sketching in ultramarine.
Yep.
Nice to establish those shadows.
Yeah. My canvas size choice is usually directly related to my level of confidence. So I was feeling really unsure about this, so that's why I went with a pretty small panel. Now I could easily bump it up to 12x16, but my truck is, 200 yards that way, so I'm going with this.
Yeah, perfect. All right, so I'm sketching in burnt sienna on a 16x24-inch panel, so it's a 2:3 ratio. This is Alcatraz out here in the distance. Just getting some general shapes, some mountains also in the distance behind Alcatraz. There's sort of some fog obscuring them, but I'm going to include them anyway. I do want to include some boats too, so I've got a red boat right here, and then a little blue boat maybe somewhere in this area. Maybe move it over a little bit so it doesn't line up with this piling, something like that. There's some random pilings as well that I'm going to use compositionally. This area is feeling a little bit open. All right, there's Tim's sketch.
It's pretty messy, but there's a lot of kind of middle values, but obviously the building and the sidewalk are going to pop out of that. The sky and the water, they're very similar in value. We got the fog rolling in now, so I'm not sure what's going to happen with that. And I think I might try to take one of those boats and pull it over here to the dock somewhere. And I did shorten the building, so I feel good about that shape. I put in a little cast shadow on the sidewalk there. I'm not sure about that yet, but just, figure it out as I go.
All right, so I'm going to start blocking in my darks here using my typical mixture of alizarin crimson and ultramarine blue, keeping the mix thin. See, there's some pilings here. I am just squinting at the scene and looking for shapes, just dark shapes, and try not to think of what they are. Try not to get bogged down in any sort of detail at this point. This area here I think is going to change the quickest, so I really need to block this in quickly. Something like that. Tim and I walked around this location for probably about an hour, just trying to come up with a compositional idea. And that's not uncommon when painting in a new location. Just try to figure out what it is you want to paint or how you want to paint the scene. This is a location that does have some potential, so I think we'll come back here and paint here again in the future. Let's see that window, right like that. Okay. I like the idea of having this presence in the foreground and then maybe this boat in the middle ground and then Alcatraz in the distance. As usual, I started out with generalized shapes and then became more specific with those shapes, or I'm becoming more specific with the shapes. I think this placement of Alcatraz will work. So I think I'm gonna have it come over like this. There's a building out here and then it's sort of sheer like that. Okay, so there is the basic idea right there. All right, blocking in the sky with a mixture of ultramarine blue, phthalo blue, and titanium white. I'm definitely leaning this mix towards ultramarine. This sky mixture is purely from memory. There's fog out there now. I'm hoping that the fog will clear at some point, and Then I can adjust the sky. I do try to get the sky on the first pass sometimes because I like the transparency of the block in, but we shall see how that goes. All right, I've got a green mixture here using ultramarine blue, cadmium yellow medium, and a bit of alizarin crimson for the dark portion of the water. All right, right along the base of the dock, it's dark too. I do like to keep my darks somewhat transparent and, you know, have visible brush strokes in the darks so they don't feel too heavy. And then some dark reflection along the base of this boat, and we'll put it here as well. Okay, for the distant mountains, I've got a mixture of ultramarine blue, alizarin crimson, and some titanium white, just trying to quickly block in everything. And once the whole painting is blocked in, then I can start adjusting colors and values. I'm also paying attention to the changes that I'm seeing, and if I see something that I like, I'll incorporate it into the painting. I'm not crazy about the fog. As you can see, it just sort of eliminates the whole background. I've got a gray-green mixture here to start off with for the water. Paying attention to the value too, because I want the value of this water here to be light enough that these patches here look dark, but I also want it to be dark enough that the building looks brightly lit. And just kind of carving out some of these shapes here using a number 8 natural bristle flat, kind of a worn out brush too, sort of not in great condition, to be honest with you, which is okay. This composition is sort of inspired by the French painter Albert Marquet, how he would have like a building and, I don't know, like a strong presence in the foreground and then something like an island or boats in the distance. Whenever I'm blocking in and painting fast and loose, it's kind of funny to watch the reactions of people that walk by, because I don't think most of them have seen the painting process. So when they see what I'm up to, I think they probably think, this poor guy, like, what a terrible painting. All right, the roof is kind of a rust color and my mix is a little bit dirty and dark. That's all right, it's a decent starting point right there. Yeah, there's some plants out on ALCATRAZ, just squinting, looking for shapes. ALCATRAZ is not that difficult to paint because it's so far off in the distance that it almost forces you to see the big shapes. Okay, I've mixed up a yellow ochreish color here using cadmium yellow medium, burnt sienna, and some ultramarine blue and titanium white. All right, the face of the cliffs are almost a purplish color. All right, for the light portion of the building, I've got titanium white and a little bit of cadmium yellow medium. I think I'm gonna leave little bits of the burnt sienna showing through just to give it some warmth. I think I'll raise up these windows a little bit like this. And I'm going with a light blue-green mixture for the reflection of the building to start with. I'll probably add some warmer notes in there, but this is a good starting point. Got it mostly blocked in there, and now you're already refining. You're cooking.
I'm not liking that fog at all because, you know, it's obscuring the distant hills, so I'm just inventing that.
Right,
so I don't like that. And then, you know, this is all kind of made up. I mean, using reference that's there, but I'm just changing the shapes and sizes and colors of everything. I just took my umbrella down so it looks very different.
Was the wind causing issues with the umbrella at all, or not really?
Just now it started to blow it over a little bit. So.
Yeah. All right, so I erased the boats because once the painting was blocked in, I wasn't crazy about the location of them. I think I might move the red boat over here a little bit. All right, so maybe have the boat like right here and have it smaller. And this is a new brush, and it's kind of frizzy, to be honest with you. It's not very precision, so it's going to be a little messy, but that's all right. I don't mind it being messy. In fact, this brush will hopefully keep me from being too careful. Still trying to focus on keeping the shape simple and trying to make strokes with intention too, as opposed to Just fishing around for shapes and colors. All right, I've mixed up a variety of brown colors here, quickly applying them to this woodwork. This brush is definitely too big for the job. That's okay. Trying to build this thing up, like I said, using intentional strokes. It's like if you can paint something and make it look like you meant to do it, then people aren't going to question you. Well, maybe they will, but it won't really matter. The reflections of the posts get lighter in value as they get closer, so I'm lightening them up a bit. Alright, so at this point I'm just looking for shifts in color and value in the water and in the other shapes as well. I'm not using any medium, I'm just using the paint, the thickness as it comes out of the tube. All right, Tim wrapped it up. I love the color you get in your skies. Is that just ultramarine or?
It's mostly cobalt.
Oh, cobalt.
Yeah.
So the cobalt's worth the extra, the extra price?
Yeah. For years, my skies were all cobalt based, and then I switched over to ultramarine, and now I kind of go back and forth. Just depends on what I see.
Yeah, it's something I've always noticed about your skies. I'm like, what color is he using? Yeah, so that's good to know. Maybe I should get a tube and play with it.
I reworked this sidewalk area 3 times. I like it better now. I made it a lot darker, and that helped. And then I changed this a couple times, and I like that.
Titanium white, and tinted it with what?
Yeah,
for the white part of the building?
I put a little warm yellow and orange in it, cat orange in it, just to warm it up a wee bit.
All right, well, here's what I finished up with. This painting took about 3 hours to complete. I did finish it on site. After doing the block in with a number 8 natural bristle flat, I switched over to a number 6 natural bristle flat, and then just built up the painting using loaded strokes, just looking for shifts in color and value within the shapes already established. I did make quite a few changes to the scene compositionally. I eliminated the seawall that was out here blocking ALCATRAZ. Then I made ALCATRAZ a little bit bigger than it actually was. I moved around some of these pilings here for compositional purposes. As for the boats, I knew I wanted a red boat out here somewhere to kind of echo the red of the roof, but it took me about 3 or 4 tries to get an arrangement of boats that I was happy with. I did decide to darken the sky. That was like the last thing I did on the painting. I felt like the sky was too light and it was competing with the light buildings on ALCATRAZ and then this light building in the foreground. I wanted the light on those buildings to seem brighter, so I darkened the sky to make those lights stand out. All right, well, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments. I will put a link to Tim's Instagram down below. Also, if you'd like to see some extra videos and help support the channel, there's a Patreon link down below. It's a Patreon support that helps keep me making these videos, and it's much appreciated, so check it out. Other than that, stay creative. See you guys in the next video.